Hey everyone, I'm working to hit 1,000 subscribers, and I need your help to get there. If you enjoy this content, please hit that subscribe button right now.
What's happening, everyone? I've got something urgent to break down with you right now, and if you care about the Blue Jays' chances this season, you need to hear this. The division rivals are making serious moves, the pitching market is finally heating up, and Toronto might be running out of time to make their play. This is getting real, so let's dive in. The Red Sox, Yankees, and Orioles are all circling the same group of pitchers right now, and it's creating this insane bidding war that we haven't really seen yet this offseason. Michael King, Framber Valdez, Ranger Suarez, these are the names everyone's chasing, and our division rivals are pushing hard to land at least one of them. This matters because whoever misses out is going to pivot to the next tier, and that's going to drive up prices across the board. The fact that these three teams are all aggressive right now tells you everything about how they view their windows. They're not waiting around. They're not being patient. They're trying to win next year, and they're willing to spend to make it happen. Usually by this point in the offseason, we've seen a couple of major pitching dominoes fall, but this year everyone's waiting. Teams are playing chicken with each other, trying to see who blinks first. The problem is that pitching is the most valuable commodity right now, and there aren't enough quality arms to go around. After those top three guys, you're looking at Lucas Giolito, Zach Gallen, Brandon Woodruff, Zach Eflin, and Chris Bassett. That's a massive drop-off in terms of what you're getting, which is exactly why the Yankees, Red Sox, and Orioles are all pushing so hard right now. They know if they miss on the top tier, they're scrambling. Here's something interesting, though. Chris Bassett, former Blue Jay, and he was really effective coming out of the bullpen in the postseason. I keep thinking about whether Toronto should bring him back in a hybrid role. Use him as a swingman who can give you length out of the pen, and if someone gets hurt, he slides right into the rotation. His pitch mix would be devastating in shorter stints where he can really air it out. I don't know if he'd go for it, but it's worth exploring. Having that kind of versatility would be huge for a team trying to stay competitive all season long. Boston already grabbed Garrett Crochet and Brayan Bello to anchor their rotation, but they could still use one more arm behind those two. The Yankees are banking on Garrett Cole bouncing back healthy alongside Max Fried and Carlos Rodon. Guys like Luis Gil and rookie Will Warren are going to round out that staff, but they know they need more depth. And then there's Baltimore. They're the ones really trying to make noise after adding Pete Alonso recently. Putting Alonso behind Gunnar Henderson in that lineup makes them immediately scarier. They had a rough year last season, and they're determined not to let that happen again. They're being aggressive, and honestly, it's smart. They know their window is wide open right now with the young talent they have. Oh, and speaking of the Yankees, apparently they're now in the mix for Kyle Tucker, too. So the Blue Jays aren't just competing with the Dodgers anymore. That changes things because New York has prospects to move, and they're desperate to upgrade that outfield. If Toronto wants Tucker, they're going to have to move fast and make their best offer because the competition just got a lot more serious. Now let's talk about Bichette, because this is where things get really interesting for Toronto. The Atlanta Braves just signed Ha-Seong Kim to a one-year, $20 million deal, and he's projected to play shortstop for them. What does that mean? It likely takes the Braves out of the Bichette sweepstakes. Now, I'm never going to count Alex Anthopoulos out completely. That guy is sneaky as hell. He could absolutely sign Kim for 1 year and then turn around and sign Bichette to a long-term deal and move one of them to second base or something. But realistically, this probably means Atlanta is out, and that's huge for Toronto. The market for Bichette as an everyday shortstop is shrinking fast. If he comes back to the Blue Jays, he's the guy at short, no questions asked, no competition, no position battles, just his job to keep. That's a powerful pitch. Rogers and the front office have been saying all the right things lately about wanting to bring him back, talking about how important he is to the organization, all that stuff. Great. But Blue Jays fans don't want to hear words anymore. They want action. Show us you're serious. Get a deal done. Bring him back before someone else swoops in with a massive offer. And here's something else that's bubbling under the surface. Ketel Marte, word is he's willing to waive his no-trade clause for a lot of teams, but there are some interesting names on his no-trade list. The Yankees are on there, which caught my attention immediately. Also on that list, the Athletics, Pirates, Cardinals, and Giants. So if any of those teams want him, he'd have to specifically approve it. The Mets and Blue Jays have both been linked to Marte, and honestly, it makes sense for Toronto. They have the pieces to get a deal done. Matt Sum over at Jays Journal has been all over this story, and I think he's right to be excited about the possibility. Toronto has an embarrassment of riches when it comes to outfield depth, middle infield prospects, and young talent overall. The Diamondbacks need major league ready players who can contribute right now. So you're probably looking at a package built around someone like Jonathan Clays, maybe Davis Schneider as part of the deal, even though that would hurt to give him up. But that's the reality. If you want to get something good, you have to give up something valuable. Arizona wants players who can step in and help them immediately, and Toronto has exactly that kind of depth to offer. The bigger question is whether the Blue Jays are actually going to pull the trigger on something like this. There's been a lot of talk, a lot of rumors, but not a ton of action yet. At some point, you have to stop exploring and start executing. The division is getting better around them. The Orioles added Alonso. The Yankees and Red Sox are hunting pitching. If Toronto sits on their hands and waits too long, they're going to get left behind. This is the time to be aggressive. This is when you make the moves that set you up for a championship run. So here's what I want to know. Do you think the Blue Jays land someone in free agency first, or do you think they make a trade happen before that? Personally, I'm hoping they re-sign Bichette before Christmas. That would be the perfect gift for this fan base. Show everyone that you're serious about keeping your core together and building around the guys who have been here. If they can pull that off and add another piece or two, whether through trade or free agency, they'll be right back in the mix, competing with the best teams in the league. The clock is ticking. The market is moving. Every day that passes is another day that a rival team gets better while Toronto stands still. This front office needs to prove they're committed to winning now, not just talking about it. Make the move. Get it done. Show the fans you mean business. Because if they don't, this offseason is going to feel like a massive missed opportunity, and nobody wants that.